Every single one of us, at some point, has probably scrolled past that headline, right? That YouTube thumbnail promising the secret habits of billionaires.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere.
It's a universal fascination, isn't it? We
Yeah.
see these really alluring promises, wakes up at 4
It's a
a.m.,
classic.
reads 50 books a year,
Yeah.
cold showers, and 80-hour work weeks. You know the list.
We do. And it sounds so prescriptive.
Exactly. These quick fixes, these so-called hacks, they just proliferate everywhere, and they create this illusion that immense wealth is just one simple trick away.
Like there's some secret blueprint.
Some magic pill that you're missing.
Yeah.
And for anyone like you listening right now who genuinely aspires to build significant lasting wealth, well, you've likely been exposed to this superficial advice.
It's hard to avoid.
I'm here to tell you something crucial. Most of that, it's just noise. It's a distraction.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, it's actively getting in your way.
You know, it's more than just noise. I think it's really a symptom of a deeper misunderstanding. What's truly critical to grasp here is why these popular habits are often misleading.
Right. What's really going on?
Well, they're rarely the root cause of immense wealth. Instead, they are often the results or maybe the byproducts of a far more profound foundational approach.
Okay, so cause versus effect.
Precisely. Real billionaires didn't become wealthy because they forced themselves into freezing showers or, I don't know, consumed specific green juices. Those might be personal routines they adopted after establishing their core principles or maybe just habits that fit within their lifestyle.
Things that work for them, maybe.
Exactly. The foundational truth for their success, the engine that truly powered their ascent, that was built through an unwavering commitment to discipline, relentless consistency, and a singularly powerful mindset shift.
Which is
They play the long game, relentlessly. This is really an awakening, you see. A recognition that genuine wealth isn't built on fleeting trends or daily fads, but on these enduring, fundamental principles that just compound over time.
exactly. And that, right there, that's precisely the core of what we're going to deep dive into today. Our mission is really to pull back the curtain, not on the superficial habits, but on the actual underlying systems and behaviors that built billion-dollar empires.
Getting to the real substance.
We're cutting through the surface-level fluff to reveal the true engine of their success. And we're going to give you a practical roadmap, a blueprint, really, that you can start implementing today, right now, regardless of where you're starting from.
No matter the starting point.
This isn't about magical shortcuts. It's about understanding the real work, the real thinking that goes into building something truly monumental. And just as crucially, something that often gets overlooked in this relentless pursuit of success. We'll also explore how to stay sane, focused, and truly fulfilled throughout this challenging yet incredibly rewarding journey. This is your awakening to the path less traveled, but honestly, infinitely more rewarding.
Yeah, and this deep dive is truly crafted for those who are intensely curious, you know. For the individual who demands substance over superficiality, it's for you if you seek to gain knowledge quickly, yes, but also with a kind of unparalleled depth.
Not just skimming the surface.
No, our goal is to provide those aha moments, the kind that don't just add to your knowledge, but fundamentally shift your perspective, critically, without ever overwhelming you with information overload.
Keeping it actionable.
Absolutely. We've synthesized the core insights from, well, countless sources, connecting the dots and presenting them in a way that delivers absolute clarity and highly actionable wisdom. This isn't about burying you in more information. It's about providing the right information distilled for maximum impact and immediate application.
Okay, so let's unpack this with a foundational truth. This is one that often holds so many people back because they believe this pervasive myth. The idea that billionaires are somehow superhuman.
Right, like they're cut from a different cloth.
They're not. They don't possess 48 hours in a day, unlike the rest of us.
No secret time turners.
They haven't discovered some secret cheat code hidden in the fabric of the universe that grants them extra time or, magical abilities. So let's just discard that limiting belief right now.
Please do.
Immense wealth is not reserved for a genetically superior few or those born with extraordinary gifts. It is built by consistent, deliberate effort and a particular strategic kind of thinking that anyone with the right approach can cultivate.
Anyone.
This is the first step in your awakening, just recognizing your own potential here.
That's such a critical starting point. What's genuinely powerful here is that while billionaires don't possess more hours, what they do possess is a robust, meticulously designed system.
A system.
And that's the core concept we need to grasp with absolute clarity. When we talk about a system in this context, we are emphatically not talking about a one-off trick or a fleeting hack. Not at all.
Right, not just do this one thing.
No. We mean a repeatable process, a comprehensive framework, maybe a set of interconnected protocols that they consistently apply to various aspects of their lives and their businesses.
Okay, so it's repeatable and integrated.
Yes. And this is paramount because systems don't just lead to results, they lead to compounding results. They drastically reduce reliance on fickle willpower or those inconsistent daily bursts of motivation.
Which we all know fades.
It always fades. Instead, systems create a steady, predictable, and scalable path forward. It's about designing an environment and a methodology that kind of automates success rather than merely hoping for it.
Like architecting it.
Exactly. Think of it as consciously architecting your own success engine.
That's such an important distinction. It really fundamentally shifts the focus from individual, superhuman feats to a methodical, scalable approach.
Yeah.
And we can see this system-driven thinking so clearly when we look at giants in the business world.
For sure.
Take Warren Buffett, for instance. We all know he reads 5 to 6 hours a day. It's one of his most famous habits.
Legendary.
But he doesn't do it for bragging rights or to just tick a box on some self-improvement checklist. He does it because he understands, at a truly profound level, the compounding impact of what he calls compounding knowledge over reactionary decisions.
Yeah, and the real insight into Buffett's reading habit isn't just that he reads so much, but why he reads, and how it integrates into his overall system.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, it's not about passive consumption of information. It's about the relentless accumulation of intellectual capital. Imagine each piece of knowledge, each new insight gained, not just adding to a pile, but building upon the last, like interest compounding in a bank account.
Ah, okay, like building blocks.
Precisely. He's deliberately creating a mental model bank, a vast internal library of frameworks, scenarios, historical outcomes. All this daily disciplined learning feeds into better, more informed, long-term decision-making.
So it connects directly to his investing.
Directly. It allows him to see patterns others miss, to anticipate shifts in industries or markets, and to evaluate opportunities with a depth of understanding that's just impossible with a superficial or reactive approach.
So how could someone listening apply that?
Well, for you, the listener, this means actively designing your own personal knowledge compounding system. And look, this isn't just about reading more books necessarily. It's about how you read, what you choose to read, and critically, how you integrate that knowledge. It could be dedicating, say, 30 minutes every morning to deep analysis of industry reports in your field.
Focused learning.
Or spending an hour weekly deconstructing the strategies of successful businesses you admire. Or even just consistently reflecting on your own failures and successes. What did you learn? The goal is to build this ever-growing reservoir of insight that informs your strategic choices, giving you an undeniable edge that compounds over years and decades.
That makes so much sense. And then there's Jeff Bezos, another titan of innovation. He has a quote I absolutely love because it just cuts straight to the core of his philosophy.
Which one's that?
If you want to be inventive, you have to be willing to fail.
Classic Bezos.
On the surface, yeah, it might sound simple, almost a cliche even. But if you really dig into it, it tells you everything you need to know about his system-driven approach.
How so?
It means they're process-driven, not just result-driven. It means failure isn't an endpoint in their system. It's not some defeat to be avoided at all costs.
Right. It's part of the process.
Exactly. It's an integrated, essential, and actually valuable part of the journey for learning and innovation. But how exactly do you build a system around failure? That sounds almost counterintuitive to most people, right?
That's a brilliant question, actually. And it's where Bezos's genius or Amazon's culture really, truly shines. For him and for Amazon, integrating failure into the system meant deliberately building a culture where experimentation was not just allowed, but actively encouraged, even celebrated sometimes.
Encouraged failure. Wow.
Well, encouraged experimentation that might lead to failure. Think about the countless early failures and iterations of Amazon. Before AWS, before Alexa, there were numerous products that just didn't take off, ventures that didn't pan out.
Yeah, I remember some of those. The Fire Phone?
Exactly. But these weren't viewed internally as ultimate defeats or reasons to just give up. Instead, they were meticulously analyzed as valuable data points, crucial learning opportunities that informed the next iteration.
So data points, not disasters.
Precisely. Their system allowed for rapid experimentation, quick pivots based on the data from those failures, and continuous learning from what didn't work. This process-driven mindset means the focus isn't solely on achieving a specific desired outcome, but on optimizing the underlying mechanisms, the processes that lead to outcomes, whether they're positive or negative in the short term.
That builds resilience.
It cultivates an incredible level of resilience and adaptability, which are absolutely essential traits for building and sustaining a billion-dollar enterprise in dynamic markets. It's about being unafraid to launch and iterate, knowing that perfect is the enemy of good, and often the enemy of invention itself.
And speaking of radically innovative thinking, let's look at Elon Musk.
Hmm.
His method is famous now, almost a mantra. Breaking problems down to first principles, not assumptions.
First principles, yes.
This isn't just a clever phrase or some abstract philosophical concept. It's a deeply systematic way of thinking that allows him to tackle seemingly impossible problems, the kind that others just dismiss as science fiction.
Right. And the profound impact of first principles thinking lies in how it differentiates itself from, say, just analogical reasoning or relying on common beliefs.
What do you mean by analogical reasoning?
Well, that's when you say, okay, this worked in situation A, so it should probably work in situation B. Or everyone else in the automotive industry does it this way, so we should too. Musk doesn't do that.
He goes deeper.
He asks, what are the fundamental irreducible truths about transportation or energy storage or space travel? It's like a physicist looking at the universe. Instead of simply accepting that objects fall, they ask why objects fall, breaking it down to gravity, fundamental forces.
Okay, getting to the absolute basics.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, applying first principles means rigorously challenging every single assumption you hold about your business idea, your product, or even your personal challenges. Let's say you're developing a new type of battery for EVs. Instead of assuming you need traditional materials like lithium and cobalt because everyone else uses them, you ask, what is a battery fundamentally? It's a way to store and release energy. What are the most basic elements for energy storage? What are the actual physical limits according to physics?
Stripping it all back.
Yes, this allows you to build solutions from the absolute ground up, often leading to radical innovation that completely bypasses existing paradigms and their inherent limitations. It's about uncovering foundational truths and building truly novel, often disruptive solutions.
Wow. So if we bring this all together, Buffett's compounding knowledge, Bezos' system of integrated failure, Musk's first principles thinking, what does this really mean for you listening?
Well, it means
billionaires don't chase productivity fads. They don't hop from one trendy hack to the next, constantly searching for the next shiny object or shortcut.
no, they don't have time for that.
Instead, they meticulously create repeatable, robust systems and comprehensive frameworks, and then, this is the key, they stick to them, day in and day out.
Discipline.
It's about the relentless, disciplined, sometimes even boring application of a well-thought-out process.
Yeah.
This unwavering consistency, this disciplined adherence to a system is what truly differentiates them from the vast majority of aspiring entrepreneurs.
Precisely. And this concept of daily, consistent application built into a structured system, it's utterly critical. It's the often overlooked truth behind monumental success. And it naturally leads us into our next discussion, which is about the absolute necessity of decisive action. Even, and maybe especially, when things aren't perfect, because perfectionism, that's often the enemy of progress.
Okay, let me share a truth with you now.
Yeah.
This one might genuinely shock you, especially given that pervasive myth of the superhuman billionaire we just talked about.
Okay, alrighty.
Every single billionaire, without exception, started as a nobody.
Mm-hmm. Humble beginnings.
They were just like you, with an idea, maybe a dream, perhaps very little to start with, facing immense challenges and uncertainties. This realization is designed to strip away every excuse you might have, to make the journey seem not just accessible, but genuinely attainable for you.
It's empowering.
It's an awakening to your own inherent power.
Yeah, and it's not just that they started small, but what truly separated them from everyone else at those humble beginnings. It wasn't some innate superiority, some predestined advantage.
So what was it?
The core insight is this. They started small, yes, but with an unwavering emphasis on action over perfection. They had this singular, often intense, focus on taking the very first step, then the next, relentlessly.
Just moving.
Just moving. Yet simultaneously, and this is the paradox, they thought big. Their vision extended far beyond their current limitations, stretching towards a grand, transformative future. And crucially, they kept moving fast even, and perhaps especially if they were failing.
Failure didn't stop them.
No. Failure wasn't a deterrent. It was a rapidly acquired data point that fueled even faster iteration. It became an essential part of their rapid learning cycle, accelerating their progress instead of halting it.
They truly didn't wait until everything was perfect, did they? I mean, think about it. Jeff Bezos started Amazon out of his garage.
The garage story, yeah.
Not a glittering corporate headquarters, not a massive automated distribution center. A literal garage. His initial desk. It was famously a door on sawhorses.
Resourceful.
Oprah Winfrey grew up in abject poverty, facing immense challenges, trauma, societal barriers from the very start.
Incredible odds.
And Richard Branson, the man who built this vast, diverse virgin empire, struggled profoundly with dyslexia, actually dropped out of school at 16.
Didn't fit the standard mold at all.
These aren't stories of people who had every advantage handed to them, who had perfect conditions, flawless plans, or unlimited funding from day one. They didn't wait for the ideal scenario or some magical mentor to appear.
No way.
They just got started with what they had, where they were, no excuses, no entitlement, just action. And that, right there, is the most critical differentiator. It's the foundation for your own awakening to wealth creation.
And this brings us to a fundamental psychological barrier: perfectionism. What destructive impact does it truly have on people trying to build something?
It's huge, isn't it?
It's massive. The desire for everything to be just right before taking action is often a deeply disguised form of fear. Maybe a fear of failure, a fear of being judged, or sometimes even a fear of success itself.
Fear holding you back.
Exactly. It leads to what we call analysis paralysis, where countless brilliant ideas, revolutionary products, life-changing services, they just never see the light of day because their creators are stuck in this endless loop of planning and refining, never actually launching.
Always tweaking, never shipping.
Precisely. And when we talk about no excuses and no entitlement, we're not just offering, motivational platitudes. We're talking about fostering a profound growth mindset and absolute personal responsibility.
Owning it.
Owning it completely. These are not merely admirable traits. They are essential prerequisites for building immense wealth. They cultivate an internal locus of control where you fundamentally understand that your progress and success are ultimately in your hands, not dependent on external circumstances or some elusive perfect condition.
You control your actions.
Yes. This mindset encourages an iterative approach where learning happens through doing, failing rapidly, and immediately adjusting based on that feedback. This is the shift from waiting for perfection to embracing immediate, imperfect, iterative action. It's a powerful muscle you can begin to train immediately in your own life. Just start.
That's a perfect lead into our next segment, because all that action, all that rapid movement, it needs to be sustained, right? It can't just be a short burst.
Consistency is key.
And here's where most people go wrong, where a really common misconception truly derails so many aspiring entrepreneurs and wealth builders. They wait for motivation.
Motivation, the fickle friend.
They wake up and think, do I feel like doing this today? Am I inspired? Am I motivated? But here's the hard truth, the unvarnished reality for your awakening. Motivation fades.
It always does.
It's a fickle, transient emotion. It's like a sugar rush. It gives you a quick, intense burst of energy, maybe, but it doesn't last. Discipline, however, discipline stays. It's the steady, unwavering hand on the tiller.
This is such a crucial distinction, and it really underpins the entire philosophy of sustainable high performance. What's fundamentally different between motivation and discipline?
Break it down for us.
Well, motivation is primarily an emotional state, right?
Yeah.
Like fleeting excitement or surge of energy you feel when you start something new, or maybe when you're inspired by someone else's success story. It's powerful in the short term, yes, but by its very nature, it fluctuates.
Totally unpredictable.
It comes and goes with your mood, your energy levels, external circumstances, the weather. Who knows?
Yeah.
Discipline, on the other hand, is a practiced habit. It's a muscle you build through consistent, intentional action.
Something you train.
Exactly. It's the unwavering commitment to take action regardless of how you feel, independent of your fluctuating emotions or energy. It ensures progress even when inspiration is completely absent.
Showing up even when you don't feel like it.
That's it. Think of motivation as a brilliant but brief flash of lightning. Discipline is the steady, reliable hum of a power generator, constant, dependable, and quietly powerful. Billionaires aren't just born with an endless supply of motivation. They've simply trained themselves to show up anyway, cultivating discipline until it becomes an ingrained part of their identity. This is the operational secret.
Okay, so if you truly want to build that same habit muscle, if you want to become fundamentally disciplined in the way that billion-dollar enterprises are built, here's a clear, actionable framework you can start implementing today, right now. Don't wait for inspiration. Do this. First, set non-negotiable routines. This means waking up at the same time every single day, regardless of whether it's a weekday or a weekend. Consistency. It means blocking out specific, focused work hours where you dedicate yourself to your most important, high-leverage tasks without distraction.
Protecting that focus time.
Absolutely. Routines remove decision fatigue. You're not constantly asking yourself, okay, what should I do now? The routine dictates it, eliminating friction. This automates positive behaviors, makes them second nature, freeing up your mental energy for more complex strategic thinking. You're essentially designing your day for automatic success.
And it's important to understand how routines remove decision fatigue and why that's so incredibly powerful.
Right.
Every single decision, no matter how trivial, from what to wear to what task to tackle next, consumes precious mental energy.
Little drains.
Little drains add up. By automating crucial parts of your day, particularly your high-leverage activities, you free up significant cognitive resources. Those resources can then be deployed for higher-level strategic thinking, complex problem-solving, creative pursuits, the very activities that truly drive value creation and innovation at the billionaire level.
The stuff that really matters.
Exactly. The non-negotiable nature of these routines means you're creating a consistent, optimized environment for peak productivity, making success almost inevitable over time.
Okay, second point. Use time blocking. This goes hand in hand with routines, right?
Yeah.
It acts as their granular enforcement mechanism.
The micromanagement of your routine?
Kind of, yeah. Every hour of your dedicated work time, and maybe even some of your personal time, should have a specific job. No guessing, no aimless scrolling, no wondering what to tackle next.
Intentionality.
Total intentionality. If 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. is for strategic planning and deep work on your core product, that's what you do. Relentlessly, if 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. is for client outreach and relationship building, that's its designated purpose. This creates an unwavering structure and intentionality, preventing time from being squandered on low-value activities and forcing you into deep, focused work. That's where the real breakthroughs happen.
And what's truly powerful about time blocking is how it forces that intentionality and protects your most valuable asset, your attention.
Which is constantly under attack.
Constantly. It's not just about scheduling tasks on a calendar. It's about proactively allocating your time to your highest priorities before the day inevitably pulls you in 1,000 different directions. This structured approach helps prevent context switching, which kills productivity, and it encourages deep work.
That focus state.
Yes, which is essential for complex problem-solving, creative development, strategic execution, the very activities that differentiate those who build immense wealth. It transforms your day from a reactive scramble into a series of deliberate, focused sprints towards your long-term vision.
Okay, and third, this one's maybe a bit counterintuitive. Track your inputs, not just your results.
Explain that.
This is absolutely crucial for long-term psychological sustainability and for maintaining momentum, especially when things get tough. Your primary focus should be on consistently showing up, on putting in the diligent effort, because results will inevitably come later, often much later.
They're lagging indicators.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Results are often lagging indicators, depend on so many factors outside your immediate control. Chasing them day to day can lead to burnout, discouragement, or even despair when they don't materialize quickly. But controlling your inputs, your daily effort, your consistency, your learning, your focus hours, that's entirely within your power.
You control the process.
That's what you can influence directly, and that's where your real power lies.
You know, this completely shifts your psychological framework from anxiety about outcomes to empowering control over the process. And how does tracking inputs foster a positive feedback loop?
Good question.
When you focus on inputs, you're essentially celebrating your effort, your consistency, your adherence to your system, rather than agonizing solely over the outcome which you can't directly control today. This is a profound form of self-reinforcement.
So you're rewarding the behavior you want.
Precisely. For example, instead of fixating only on daily sales figures, maybe you track how many high-value client calls you made, or how many proposals you sent out, or how many hours you spent deeply mastering your core skill. This builds momentum and a tangible sense of accomplishment even when immediate results aren't visible yet.
That keeps you going.
It powerfully reinforces the belief that your consistent actions will inevitably lead to success over time, rather than leaving you feeling at the mercy of external, unpredictable factors. And ultimately, what this really means is that billionaires aren't necessarily the best at everything, nor are they immune to setbacks or bad days.
They're human.
They're human. They're simply the best at showing up. Daily. They have mastered the mundane, understanding its incredible compounding power. So this is your cue.
Yeah.
Embrace the power of daily, incremental effort, even when it feels small and insignificant in the moment.
Which leads us perfectly into our next point, the real superpower that honestly ties all of this together. Consistency.
The magic ingredient.
It really is. You don't need to do extraordinary things to achieve extraordinary wealth. It's another pervasive myth we need to absolutely demolish right now.
Doesn't have to be heroic every day.
No. You need to do ordinary things, yes, but you need to do them every single day, consistently, without fail. This is the absolute essence of compounding. It's how massive outcomes are built from seemingly insignificant daily actions.
Small hinges swing big doors.
Exactly. It's the truth that demystifies the path to immense wealth, making it not some magical feat, but a disciplined journey achievable through accessible, repeatable daily actions. Because it truly is. This is the core of your awakening to how real wealth is actually built.
And what's truly fascinating here, and often counterintuitive to our natural human inclination, is how profoundly our intuition underestimates exponential growth.
Our brains aren't wired for it.
Not really. The principle of compounding is a force almost beyond our immediate comprehension. We tend to think linearly, right? We expect that if we put in X amount of effort, we'll get Y amount of results. Pretty straightforward.
Cause and effect.
But compounding means that small, consistent efforts don't just add up, they multiply. Each small gain becomes the foundational base for the next one, leading to disproportionately large and often explosive outcomes over time.
The snowball effect.
It's arguably the most powerful force in the universe, and it applies not just to money and investments, but to knowledge, skills, relationships, the very habits you build. Everything compounds. It's the secret acceleration behind long-term success.
Okay, to really hammer this home, to make this truth absolutely visceral for you, let me ask you a question. It's a classic thought experiment, but it beautifully illustrates the mind-bending power of compounding.
Okay, let's hear it.
Would you rather get $100,000 today, right now, cash in your bank account, immediate and tangible, or would you rather get a single penny that doubles every day for 30 days?
The penny sounds small. $100 case sounds good right now.
Most people, instinctively, reflexively, would jump for the $100,000. It's immediate, it's a significant sum, and it feels like the rational choice. But here's the aha moment, the surprising transformative truth. That penny, which starts so small and seems utterly insignificant,
What happens to it?
it turns into over $5.3 million by the end of 30 days.
Wow, 5.3 million.
From a single penny doubling daily for a month. Think about that, $5.3 million.
Yeah.
It's not magic, it's consistency, it's compounding.
That thought experiment is incredibly revealing, isn't it? Because it highlights our brain's deep-seated bias towards instant gratification.
We want it now.
We instinctively favor the immediate, smaller gain over the long-term massive one because our linear thinking just struggles to project exponential growth accurately. But the penny analogy vividly connects to the real-world power of consistent, disciplined effort.
How so?
Each day you show up, each small action you take, even if it feels like just a penny of progress, it effectively doubles, or at least significantly builds upon, your previous progress over time. This means that the most significant growth, the truly explosive gains, often happen in the later stages when for a long time it might have felt like nothing significant was happening at all.
The hockey stick curve.
Exactly. It's not about grand, sporadic gestures. It's about the relentless, often unglamorous consistency of showing up day after day for a long, long time. This is why billionaires commit to decades-long visions despite seemingly slow early progress. They understand the power of that doubling penny.
And here's another critical insight. Billionaires don't just apply this principle of consistency to their finances or their core businesses. That's maybe the obvious part.
Right, it goes broader.
They apply it across all fundamental domains of their lives. They apply it to their relationships, building trust over time. They apply it to their continuous learning, like Buffett. They apply it to their personal investing, obviously. And crucially, they apply it to their team building and leadership.
Yeah, if we really connect this to the bigger picture, consistent effort yields outsized, often unimaginable returns in every single one of these areas. Let's break it down.
Okay.
In relationships, whether personal or professional, it's not about one grand gesture, is it? It's about consistent communication, showing up for people, actively listening, building trust through reliable actions over time. This creates a powerful network of support and collaboration.
Trust compounds, too.
Absolutely. In learning, as we discussed with Buffett, it's the continuous acquisition of knowledge, even small bits daily, that builds an unparalleled mental library and strategic foresight. This is deliberate practice and a commitment to lifelong intellectual growth.
Always learning.
In investing, well, it's the bedrock of wealth creation. Regular disciplined contributions, owning assets, and a long-term mindset, letting the magic of compounding work for decades without interruption, not trying to time the market or chase fleeting trends.
Steady accumulation.
And in team building, it's consistent leadership, consistent mentorship, consistently fostering a strong culture, celebrating small wins, addressing issues promptly, empowering your people. It's the daily, steady effort to build a cohesive, high-performing unit that can execute on a grand vision.
It takes time.
It takes time. Ultimately, what this all synthesizes to is that small, consistent wins daily, compounded, inevitably turn into massive, transformative outcomes in 10, 20, or even 30 years. It's a slow burn, yes, but it is an incredibly unstoppably powerful one.
Okay, so with all this profound wisdom about building systems, cultivating discipline, and leveraging consistency, what can you actually do starting today? To walk this same path, we're not going to leave you hanging with just theory.
No, we need action steps.
We're going to give you a practical roadmap right now, a precise guide inspired by the actual habits and foundational principles of real billionaires that you can begin implementing immediately to start your own journey of wealth creation. This is your blueprint for awakening.
Exactly. This segment is all about the strategic application of everything we've discussed so far. It's about translating these powerful, often counterintuitive principles into concrete, actionable steps you can take to build your own path to immense, lasting wealth. This isn't just theory, it's a meticulously distilled, actionable blueprint for your personal transformation.
Okay, here we go. Your practical roadmap for building a billion-dollar mindset and ultimately a billion-dollar future. First, Poo 1. Master one skill that pays, and we mean master it. We're talking about a skill that has tangible, demonstrable market value, something people or businesses genuinely need and will pay handsomely for.
High-value skills.
Whether it's advanced coding in a high-demand language, high-level persuasive writing, sophisticated digital marketing strategy, or maybe transformative leadership in a critical industry, whatever it is, go deep.
Yeah.
Don't dabble. Don't just scratch the surface and then move on to the next shiny thing.
Resist the shiny object syndrome.
Dominate that skill. Become an undeniable, irreplaceable expert in it. Think T-shaped. Broad knowledge generally, but one deep, powerful vertical of expertise.
Yeah, the importance of deep expertise cannot be overstated in today's world. In a world increasingly awash with generalists and, frankly, surface-level knowledge, true mastery in one valuable, high-demand skill allows you to create unique, irreplaceable value.
Stand out from the crowd.
Exactly, and solve complex, high-value problems that others simply cannot. This naturally commands significantly higher returns, it opens doors to unprecedented opportunities, and it builds a reputation that attracts even more success. It's about building a specialized, unshakable foundation that differentiates you profoundly in any marketplace.
So how do you pick that skill?
Well, for you, the listener, the task is to identify a skill that genuinely excites you, that's important for sticking with it, aligns with your natural aptitudes, and, crucially, that the market demonstrably needs and values. Then, commit to a deliberate practice regimen to master it. Focus on depth over breadth initially, maybe even seek mentorship to accelerate your expertise.
Okay, that's step 1, mastery. Second, do 2. Turn that skill into a system. Once you've mastered a high-value skill, the next, and absolutely crucial step, is to figure out how to leverage it beyond just your individual time and effort.
Scalability. This is key.
This is where scalability comes into play. Create repeatable content around it, articles, videos, courses. Productize it by offering it as a structured service with defined outcomes. Or build a robust process that allows others to utilize or replicate your expertise, maybe through technology or by training a team.
Moving beyond yourself.
The core goal here is simple. Make your unique value scalable over time. This allows your impact of your earnings to grow exponentially, independent of your direct hourly input.
Right. And this transition from individual skill to a replicable leveraged asset is where true wealth accumulation really begins to accelerate. Think about how a skilled coder might move beyond freelance hourly work to create a scalable software as a service product.
From service to product.
Or how a brilliant marketing expert might develop a proprietary framework for client acquisition that can be taught and licensed, rather than just performing one-off campaigns themselves. It's about productizing your knowledge or service so you're no longer just trading hours for dollars.
Breaking the time barrier.
Exactly. Examples include building an online course, automating aspects of your service delivery with AI or software, or creating standardized operating procedures that can be executed efficiently by a team you build. This is the strategic pivot where you move from simply earning an income to truly building an engine that generates wealth, freeing your time to focus on even bigger challenges and opportunities.
Okay, makes sense. Third step on the roadmap, 8V3, invest every month, no matter what. This is truly non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It's the purest form of playing the long game we talked about.
The compounding engine.
Start with $100. Seriously, start with $50 if you have to. It doesn't matter if it feels insignificant initially. It's not about the amount you start with, especially in the beginning. It's about building the consistent habit.
The discipline of saving and investing.
This is how you truly embrace compounding interest and fundamental wealth accumulation. Your core principle, your absolute guiding star, should be this: own assets, not liabilities.
Yeah, and the absolute emphasis here needs to be on building the habit of investing, prioritizing consistency over the initial sum. So many people procrastinate, right? They wait until they have a large amount to invest, and consequently, they never actually start.
Perfectionism again.
It is, but as the penny analogy vividly demonstrated, the power of consistent, even small investments over decades is truly staggering. Furthermore, a profound understanding of the difference between assets and liabilities is absolutely fundamental to a billionaire's mindset.
Define those again quickly.
Sure, assets are things that generate income or appreciate in value over time, like stocks, well-chosen real estate, equity in a profitable business you own or invest in. Liabilities are things that consume resources, depreciate, and often put you in debt like credit card debt, an unnecessarily expensive car, high-interest loans.
Things that take money out of your pocket.
Exactly. Billionaires relentlessly acquire and hold assets, building a diversified portfolio that works for them, generating passive income and capital appreciation, which ultimately liberates their time and effort. So for you, this means starting that investment habit now, no matter how small, and fundamentally prioritizing asset accumulation over consuming liabilities.
All right, fourth point on the roadmap. 4, build a personal operating system. This is where your personal discipline becomes systematic, automated, and therefore sustainable for the long haul.
Making discipline automatic.
We're talking about a formal, structured approach to your daily and weekly life that optimizes your energy, your focus, your execution. Implement that non-negotiable morning routine we mentioned, something that sets you up for peak performance and intentionality every single day.
Starting the day right.
Conduct rigorous weekly reviews to honestly assess your progress, recalibrate your goals based on reality, and identify areas for improvement. Be brutally honest with yourself.
Feedback loops.
And crucially, create those dedicated focus blocks for your most important, high-leverage work, where you eliminate all distractions and engage in deep, uninterrupted work. As the powerful, often quoted truth states, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems.
That raises an important question. How exactly does a personal operating system formalize discipline and make it stick long term?
Good point. How?
Well, it transforms abstract intentions, like I want to be more productive, into concrete, scheduled, and protected actions. A well-designed morning routine, for instance, isn't just about waking up early. It's about intentionally starting your day in a way that aligns with your highest values and priorities, setting a deeply productive tone before the world intrudes.
Setting the trajectory.
Weekly reviews provide that critical, self-correcting feedback loop. They allow you to learn from the past week's execution, what worked, what didn't, and plan strategically and proactively for the next week. Focus blocks are dedicated, almost sacred time for high-leverage, complex activities, insulating you from the constant barrage of distractions and context switching.
Protecting deep work.
Exactly. Each component contributes to sustained productivity, mental clarity, and goal attainment, ensuring that your ambitious long-term aspirations are supported by consistent, exceptional daily execution. It's really the invisible infrastructure supporting your visible success.
Okay, powerful stuff. And finally, the 5th step on this roadmap. You will play the infinite game.
Ah, the infinite game. Love this concept.
Billionaires don't just want a quick win, a single successful exit or a flash in the pan. They are not playing for a finite victory condition. They want to keep winning, yes,
Yeah.
but also to keep building, to keep evolving, growing, and impacting for decades, often for an entire lifetime
Hmm?
or even beyond.
Building a legacy.
This requires a profound, almost liberating mindset shift. Think 10 to 20 years ahead, maybe even longer, not just 10 days, not just the next quarter. This long-term horizon completely changes your daily decisions and how you react to setbacks.
Yeah, and what's truly transformative here is the stark contrast between the finite game and the infinite game, a concept really well articulated by James Cars.
Explain the difference.
A finite game has known players, fixed rules, and a clear endpoint with a defined winner and loser. Think of a football match or chess game. Most businesses, frankly, operate this way, focusing on quarterly earnings reports, beating the competition this month, achieving short-term market share.
For-term focus.
An infinite game, on the other hand, has both known and unknown players. The rules are changeable, and the primary objective isn't to win in a traditional sense, but to keep playing, to perpetuate the game indefinitely, to evolve, adapt, and grow.
Staying in the game.
Billionaires inherently play the infinite game. This long-term perspective is absolutely crucial for surviving brutal market fluctuations, adapting to seismic technological shifts, attracting and retaining top talent, and building truly lasting empires. It means that daily decisions aren't just evaluated based on short-term gains, but on building long-term capacity, fostering deep resilience, and establishing sustainable strategic advantage.
Thinking generations ahead sometimes.
Sometimes. So for you, the listener, consider this. How does shifting from a short-term instant gratification mindset, which is the common trap we all fall into, to a decades-long perspective fundamentally change your daily decisions? How does it change your motivations, your willingness to endure challenges, and your commitment to invest in that slow compounding growth? It radically reorients your entire approach to wealth creation and, frankly, to life itself.
Okay, now we've talked about systems, discipline, consistency, this long-term roadmap that can absolutely lead to immense wealth. But here's the part that almost everyone skips. It's the critical component of lasting success that often gets completely overlooked in the relentless pursuit of financial gain.
What is it?
It's the profound importance of enjoying the journey.
Ah, yes, the journey itself.
Let me be brutally honest with you. If you hate the process, if you dread every single step along the way, if the daily grind feels like an inescapable prison, you will likely never reach the prize. Burnout will get you first.
Or if you do?
Or if you somehow do manage to get there through sheer grit, it will likely be an empty, unfulfilling, and ultimately unsatisfying victory. This is a truth many people learn far too late.
That raises an incredibly important question, doesn't it? Why is enjoying the process so critical for sustainable, fulfilling success? It sounds almost like a luxury.
It feels like it, but is it?
I don't think so. True, enduring fulfillment doesn't solely come from the outcome or the destination. It comes from finding meaning, challenge, growth, and genuine engagement in the work itself, day in and day out. Relentless grind without any joy is simply unsustainable. It is a guaranteed path to burnout, disillusionment, and ultimately a breakdown of that very discipline and purpose we've been talking about.
The engine runs out of fuel.
Exactly. Sustainable success, the kind that lasts a lifetime and feels good, demands joy, passion, genuine engagement with what you're building. It means consciously building something you genuinely care about, something that deeply resonates with your values and purpose. And a strong mind and a balanced life are not just a reward for success. They are, in fact, an absolute prerequisite for sustaining it over the long term. This is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the infinite game.
And that's exactly how the most successful billionaires, the ones who truly seem to enjoy their wealth and their lives, manage this. They find deep intrinsic meaning in the work itself.
The why.
Yeah, in the complex problem solving, in the act of creation, in the tangible impact they're having on the world, their customers, their employees. They also celebrate progress, no matter how small, acknowledging the consistent incremental wins that accumulate into massive outcomes. This reinforces their momentum and provides positive feedback.
Recognizing the small victories.
They actively create balance in their lives, understanding with profound clarity that their mental, emotional, and physical well-being is not separate from their success, but absolutely integral to it.
Fueling the machine.
And they consistently keep their minds strong, not just their wallets. They invest diligently in their mental clarity through things like meditation or exercise, their emotional resilience through relationships and self-care, and their physical health. They know these are the true foundational pillars of enduring performance and genuine fulfillment.
This leads us directly to the indispensable concept of holistic wealth. It's a wealth that encompasses mental, emotional, and relational well-being alongside the financial success.
More than just money.
Much more. It's not about sacrificing everything, your health, your relationships, your sanity, solely for money. That's a finite game approach that leads to ruin. It's about recognizing that these elements are inextricably interconnected and mutually reinforcing.
They feed each other.
Precisely. A stressed, unbalanced, or unfulfilled mind cannot consistently make the clear, rational, long-term strategic decisions necessary for immense wealth creation and its sustainable management. It's about consciously building a life that profoundly nourishes you rather than constantly draining you. It's an act of deliberate self-preservation for the long, infinite journey ahead.
So let this be a powerful, inspiring, and truly awakening thought for you as we conclude this deep dive. Build a life you don't need to escape from.
That's powerful.
Because if you genuinely enjoy the journey, if you find deep meaning and fulfillment in the process of building, learning, growing, and impacting, then, in a very real sense, you are already rich. The monetary wealth, when it comes, becomes almost a natural byproduct, an external manifestation of an internal state of fulfillment and purpose. This is the true meaning of playing the long game well.
And that serves as the ultimate provocative thought for you, the listener, doesn't it? It prompts you to reflect, perhaps for the first time with this kind of clarity, on your own motivations. What is your deepest definition of success beyond just the monetary figures? How can you, starting today, integrate joy, genuine curiosity, and fundamental balance into your pursuit of wealth? How can you make the path itself as fulfilling and enriching as the eventual destination?
It changes everything.
It really does. This deep dive has shown that the true habits of billionaires aren't really about suffering or endless sacrifice. They're about alignment, intentionality, relentless discipline grounded in systems, and a profound, often counterintuitive understanding of what sustains growth, impact, and fulfillment over an entire lifetime. This is your foundation for true wealth.
If this deep dive gave you some clarity, if it sparked that undeniable fire and energy in you, do us a favor. Share this with someone else who you think is tired of the noise, someone who's ready to stop chasing those fleeting hacks and start building real, enduring wealth. One powerful system, one consistent action at a time. This might be the awakening they need too.
Absolutely. And before we wrap up completely, if you really want to deeply understand the micromechanisms of how discipline, focus, and long-term thinking truly translate into creating real, lasting wealth.
Well, there's one foundational book I cannot recommend highly enough.
Which one is that?
It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Oh, fantastic book. Truly transformative. It really is. This book breaks down with remarkable clarity and incredibly actionable steps exactly how to build life-changing habits, the very kind that billionaires rely on, whether they call them that or not, into simple, practical, and powerful systems.
Making it easy to be consistent.
Exactly. It illustrates with crystal clear examples how those small, consistent actions we talked about, those penny efforts, compound into massive, often unimaginable results over time. It's one of those rare books that you won't just read once. You'll likely refer back to it again and again throughout your journey as you build your own empire.
A true manual.
It is. You can find a copy using the link in the description. If you're serious about this journey, don't miss this essential tool. It provides the how for so much of what we discussed today.